required learning while running. If I'm not learning something new, it worries me. There are three kinds of people. One set of people who kind of think quite a lot, talk quite a lot, but just don't even start working on a project. Second set of people are who start with a lot of gusto, a lot of enthusiasm, but somewhere halfway you see their projects tapering and they're losing interest in it. Third set of people are those when they start a project, they make sure they finish it and they make sure they do a damn good quality job.
Myself Gaurav Garg, and we welcome all our viewers to our show Amazing Mentor. Today with us is Ms. Mamta Saikia. She is Chief Executive Officer of Bharti Foundation. As the CEO of Bharti Foundation, Mamta plays a key role in project expansion and enhancement of quality standard and system efficiency, while constantly keeping the team morale high to deliver their best in challenging circumstances. She has recently been honored in the 100 Women Achievers of India, an initiative by Ministry of Women and Child Development, Government of India. She has been honored among 2019 class of influential leaders by AACSB International, the world's largest business educational alliance. She authored a book titled Money Matters, People Too, which is based on the issue of self-reliance in the Indian NGO sector and was released in Germany in June 2005. It's a pleasure to welcome Ms. Mamta to our show. Welcome, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
So tell us about your childhood and hobbies you enjoy as a child, ma'am.
Gaurav, you're talking about a time which I think I left around 50 years back. See, the key memories of my childhood are, of course, something that children of today miss quite a lot is to go out in the ground and play. I think the best memories, I remember things were different then. I remember summer holidays when we wouldn't come back home till 10:30, 11, and you would have all the mothers marching to the ground to get children back. So lovely memories, of course. But more than that, I come from a family of educationists. My mother was a teacher. She's retired now, of course. My father was a professor in NCERT, retired. And I think in our entire house, education mattered a lot. So there was a lot of focus on how well we are doing in our schools, academically, of course, but even otherwise, my father insisted, and I was part of Girl Guides and, school leadership team and things like that. And I think the one thing that left huge mark on me in my childhood was the fact that there was one particular exam, and that in maths. My father is, a doctor in statistics, and I am pretty good at numbers and maths. But there was one particular exam, and I do remember which class it was, but I will not mention it. And I got very bad marks for some reason. And I can't forget that within a month, my mother actually left her job to stay at home and to make sure that our studies get the kind of focus that they deserve. That left a very big mark on me when I grew up, that how much sacrifice parents make. So where I am today, I am because of the kind of values my parents have inculcated. So that's one incident which has stayed with me. And I do understand how important the children's education is to all the parents, irrespective of whether they are in villages or cities, big towns.
So where did you complete your schooling from?
Gaurav, I have been very lucky. I've studied in central schools, which are known as Kendriya Vidyalaya, through and through. And the best institutions, very good quality teachers and very good quality education, and the diversity of students that you meet. So I've been lucky.
So as a child, what was your dream profession?
Of course it changed when I reached the college. But when I was a child, I was so much surrounded by teaching community, teachers and professors, literally, that I thought that's the only way to go. So I always wanted to be a science teacher since I did my BSc physics and 1 year of MSc physics, which my father is till date very upset about. So I wanted to be a teacher. Then I joined college, and in early 1990s, either when you're in college, either people were preparing for civil services, and then there were these group of people who trying for an MBA. So MBA caught my eye. I didn't think I was ready for civil services. So first year of MSc, and then I got into IMT Ghaziabad to do my postgraduate diploma in business management, and something that my father is still not happy about. I've not gone back to finish my MSc. So the dream changed. But today my father is only happy about the fact that I'm using my MBA to work in the space of education. So I may not have become a teacher, but he's happy that I'm using my skills and my knowledge to work in the field of education.
So was it difficult to convince your parents?
Oh, my father actually threw up a challenge. So that's why I did 1 year of MSc. So when I was in the final year of my BSc, I told him MBA is what I want to go for. So my father, he said, okay, I'll allow you MBA, but you do one thing. First, you show me that you can get admission in B.Ed of Delhi University. So there is an institute, CIE. And apparently in those years, there used to be only 4 seats per subject. So for physics students, there were only 4 seats. And obviously students from all India used to come and compete for those 4 chairs. So my father actually said, I will allow you to do MBA if you first show me you can get into, that B.Ed institute. So obviously I took that test, and God was kind. I was in the final list. I did not do the B.Ed. I did 1 year of MSc because I had to then prepare for the MBA entrance. So my father did try his best.
So what was that motivation for you?
I was very young, and I think the reason that you're making these videos, we did not have such videos then, correct? So you listen to your friends, you hear the conversations. Most of the conversations were around civil services. I think at that point of time, it fascinated me. Nobody in my family circle, so there were doctors, engineers, or teachers. So it wasn't a huge some motivation or some life-changing thing. I think you hear your friends talk about it and you kind of think maybe it'll work out for me.
So where did you started your career from?
That's a very interesting question and journey. So since I was a physics student, after my MBA, I got picked up by a power consultancy firm. So my first 2 years, I actually spent time doing techno-economic feasibility studies for rice husk utilization to generate power, steam turbines, gas turbines. I mean, some of the things today, when I look at the reports I had prepared, I myself really do not understand the work that I had done in those days. So 2 years of power consultancy.
Who was your mentor in the starting of your career?
Since I came from a family of educationists, I did not have any support system around me which could guide me in the career. I must say the work that you are doing, and there are now many career counseling firms that are there. In those times, we didn't have support like that. You either speak to people that you know, or you listen into what your friends are saying. Well, it's not as if I worked in many organizations. I've literally worked in 2 organizations only. One is CRY, Child Rights Renew, and second is Bharti Foundation. So no, I didn't have anybody else. I kind of talked to people and took a lot of decisions on my own.
So what were the challenges you faced in your career of 30 plus years?
Many. I think one won't become a thorough professional unless one has faced challenges and learned from them or overcome them. In both CRY, Child Rights Renew, and Bharti Foundation, I have started new initiatives. So in CRY, I initiated their entire resource mobilization unit. Before I joined CRY, they only had CRY cards. And in Bharti Foundation, we started, I think, the biggest program, a chain of Satya Bharti schools, which provide completely free education to underprivileged children and in the villages of a country. So this entire project of setting up 183 schools today we have, including senior secondary schools, it was a huge project to interact with communities. In both these phases, I actually developed this ability to learn fast. because your learning curve has to be very steep. When I started working with CRY on resource mobilization, CRY is one of the first agencies which did domestic fundraising. I think each challenge has given me something. So when I joined Bharti Foundation, to talk about the schools which did not exist on ground, right? You actually were talking about a dream that you wanted to build in their village. Everything was a challenge. Everything required learning while running. I'm a learner. I learn from people and I learn from moments. My professional life has been such that if I'm not learning something new, it worries me. So yes, Gaurav, many, many challenges, but it left me as a professional with a very steep ability to learn. The second thing that work challenges have taught me is that one has to build a team who is better than you are in the areas that they specialize in. So I think more and more you work, I think most of the leaders that you're speaking to would have told you the same thing. Challenges come and go. You just have to build right kind of, structure. The last thing that I would say, very important for me, of course, there are many learnings, is the power of truth and transparency. Any challenge that you face in the life, if you have these two value systems strongly and you live by them every single day, be it in your one-on-one interactions, be it in your interactions with programs, community, children, if these two pillars are strong, it's not that challenges come down, challenges would still come. That's what life is all about. But your ability to handle those challenges gets much stronger.
So, any worst and best moment of your career you would like to share?
I'll start with the best moment first, and it kind of, I talk about it every single day. Whenever I'm talking to Bharti Foundation employees, especially new employees, I tell them this is one incident which even today keeps me so much grounded on what we do in Bharti Foundation. So it was, I think, after a year, we had established our schools. So I was visiting one of the schools and it was a new school. So many children had come from other schools and taken admission into our school. So I was talking to a child and I said, "Aapko is school mein kya acha lagta hai?" Just trying to get what you call customer feedback. And this child said, "Yahan pe sab sach bolte hain." I wasn't expecting a response like that because it was a question I used to ask many children, and either they would say computers hain, hame yahan, we like the midday meal, yahan pe jhoole hain, we like playing on the swings, we like the teacher. This child said yahan sab sach bolte hain, and it made me realize two things. One, I wondered what kind of experience that child has had in the little life. He was just 8 years old or 9 years old. Second, I realized the importance of everything that you promise a child in your program, everything that has to be delivered because a child or your student is waiting for it. If you're saying computers are going to come, computers should reach schools. If you're saying that our schools would be happy schools where you will enjoy your education, you will learn while playing, you have to design your pedagogical processes in a manner where, you should see joy in the faces of children when they're studying. So this one incident has been the best incident in my, the initial years of my journey in Bharti Foundation. I can never, ever forget what this child said to me. And whenever I orient new staff, I tell them, let this guide you forever. That any promise that we make on the ground, we just simply have to deliver it. So that has been my best incident. The worst part actually of my life, and that was something I was talking about in the initial phase of the interview, is what has brought me here today. So that was the time when 2 years of consultancy firm, 2 years of, power consultancy. And I just hit a phase where I knew that this is not me, right? This is not something that I want to do. And I was just not able to articulate that what is it that I want? What will inspire me? One thing became very clear, that I will not be able to work unless I have a force which is inspiring me, which is driving me. So that was very clear. The only thing was how do I look for that job which will inspire me? So I quit the job that I was working in, and I think I took 3-4 months off. And that was a very difficult phase in my life, when you don't know what you want to do. That was the time when came an advertisement in Times of India from CRY, Child Rights and You. And it talked about that they're setting a direct mail cell to raise resources, right? And they needed people with marketing background. That just excited my imagination, to use something that you are passionate about, writing, to use the skills that you have, marketing, to use that to impact lives of children. I think it was a godsend opportunity that after 3 months of struggling and talking to friends, I was still not able to figure out what I want to do in corporate sector. When this job from CRY came in, it was a bridge because it used my marketing skills. And as the rest is history, Gaurav, CRY became one of the first agencies to raise huge amount of donations from India itself. We also established an international cell where we raised donations from NRIs, PIOs. And I realized that if you're actually passionate about your job and you love what you're doing, then it isn't a job anymore. So that's what the worst phase of my life led me to. And from CRY, here I am working directly with children.
So how was the feeling when you were honored in the 100 Women Achievers of India?
Gaurav, first one was of disbelief because I know that and there are women who are doing exemplary work in very tough circumstances. And I went and met many of those 100 women achievers. Each one of them I felt I was nothing in front of them, what they had achieved. So of course, to be standing along with those women from the grassroots was a sense of huge honor. But more importantly, Gaurav, what it left me with was this huge responsibility to deserve it as much as some of them. I knew that now I have to work harder. And we have some such wonderful stories which are emerging today. We started Bharti School program in 2006. We're in 2020. It's been 14 years. And we've had one student who has recently joined IIT Chennai from Jodhpur, right? And this was a child who was out of school when our school was being constructed, right? And his parents did not have the money and resources to send him to a school. And he was sitting somewhere and there was a Jawan who passed and he said, "Why are you looking so sad?" He said, "I want to go to the school, but my parents can't afford to." He said, "There is a Bharti school coming up in your village, which I hear will be completely free of cost." He was among first few children who walked into our schools. And today he's got admission in IIT Chennai, right? So, and that's the power of our teachers. So I live with that responsibility that as a women leader, I have to inspire every single women leader in Bharti Foundation.
What does awards mean to you?
Gaurav, when Bharti Foundation wins an award, we accept it with sense of gratitude, but I know for our teams, these awards act like a booster of energy because there is somebody who's looked at your work and there's somebody who's recognized your work. It's the same feeling recently, just 10 days back, the immense work that our teachers have done during COVID, immense work. They're taking classes. You see, our children don't have laptops, right? So they're taking Zoom classes, online classes over phones. Children who do not have smartphones, they are doing phone shala, which means on a voice phone, they teach a child. After 2 days, they call back to listen into the child's homework. Nowadays, they're even visiting homes if a child does not even have any kind of phone. I mean, the immense work that they have done. So recently, Gaurav, I was talking about the work in one of the webinars, and among listeners was a professor from Harvard University, and he was just compiling global case stories around work done by educationists during COVID. And he wrote me an email saying, "We would like to include Bharti Foundation story in it." So it's not only award. I mean, our story got included in that book, the immense work that our teachers did. And we have spread that information among all the teachers and entire field staff. That, hey, your work inspired a professor to include it in the book. So it's not any recognition. What it does is you see, while you're working, there are a lot of challenges. Every day is a challenge, right? So when awards come for the work for the institution, it inspires teams. So that's what awards mean to us.
So mainly you have been into social activity profile. So what motivates you to choose your career path mainly into social activity profile?
I've shared with you the shift that I made. That shift was not easy. You know, that everyday joy and fulfillment and a sense of purpose that you get more than makes up for it. Right? The fact that you've been able to influence and change lives for the better is a very, very big thing. And now, after 14 years, when our schools have started showing such wonderful stories, one of our girl child has become assistant postmaster in her post office. You know, she's taken up job. What more can one need? To know that this child, she's in a leadership position. She's not a child, she's a young woman today. She was a child when she was with us, a leadership position. She's managing a post office. Just makes you feel very, very proud, very fulfilled.
So you opted as an entrepreneur from 2001 to 2004. So was there any particular reason you opted out for?
I enjoyed that phase, you know, when I was an entrepreneur, because every 2-3 months you worked in a different issue. You met so many different inspiring people. My actual learning after more than 9 or 10 years in CRI, I think I learned quite a lot in these 3 years that I worked as an entrepreneur. When the opportunity for Bharti Foundation came in, I think there was an opportunity to do something very meaningful on ground. And knowing Bharti, knowing how ambitious and, you know, the vision normally is large scale, I felt at the right time, right kind of opportunities come in. So motivation simply was that while right now I'm an entrepreneur, I'm working with many agencies, but as a consultant, you can only advise them and move the needle only this much. Here was an opportunity where I would have the power, the empowerment to actually do something meaningful and large scale on the ground. So that inspired me to join Bharti Foundation.
While working with children and community, are there any shortcuts for them?
Gaurav, when you're working with the community, there are no shortcuts. Of course, you have to have smart solutions. You have to be fairly strategic about what you want to do and how you want to do. You have to be very good at learning from this set of schools to see, okay, you made these 3 mistakes. Let's not make the same mistakes over there. But when you're working with people on the ground, you have to constantly remember that our work impacts their lives. And when you are responsible for people's lives, you don't take shortcuts. You just do what is correct. And that has been the mantra. Not that shortcuts are wrong. If it is process efficiency, yes, of course.
So at present, you are CEO of Bharti Foundation. So what are your roles and responsibilities?
Gaurav, like I said, the first thing is to take Bharti Foundation in the direction where our trustees, led by Sunil Bharti Mittal and Mr. Rakesh Bharti Mittal, mentors us very closely, and they have a very ambitious vision for Bharti Foundation. I think the first and foremost or the biggest role that I have is to understand their vision, take that and inspire every single person in Bharti Foundation. Everybody who gets in touch, that's including you. You have to get inspired by what we do, right? Because if people get inspired, then they deliver more than what they think they're capable of. So my first and foremost, the job is to make sure that everybody is in sync with the vision. Everybody understands what the vision is and they are inspired by it. My second key role is to set the value system right. And most of the people in Bharti Foundation will tell you this story that Mamta ma'am told her, right? So you set the value system, because if you're very clear about the value system, then only right kind of decisions are taken on the ground. You see, I or the top management team cannot be present in every school every single day. There are teachers who are taking decisions. So the second most critical job that I have is that people should understand our ethos, our value system very clearly. The third job that I have is to attract right kind of people for Bharti Foundation. To the extent we also have what we call boomerangs, people who've gone out of Bharti Foundation and after 2-3 years, they've come back to Bharti Foundation, because the kind of freedom, empowerment, the joy, and the kind of culture that we built in Bharti Foundation, at any point of time, you will see there are arguments going on. I mean, unfortunately, we're operating from home, although work from office has started. But a year back, you walk into Bharti Foundation office, there would be arguments happening because there are passionate people sitting on every chair with a very passionate point of view. We argue, then we take a decision, and then it's a one team, the same two people who were arguing. After half an hour, you will see they're in the cafeteria having tea and gupshup. So I think I would limit my role only to these 4 things. The rest of the work is actually done by an excellent team that we have.
So what would be your advice for young generation?
Not today, the younger generation, I don't know whether it's a good thing or a difficult thing. They're exposed to a lot. There are many career choices that they face. Unfortunately, their parents who are my age group do not even sometimes understand that what is it that they're talking about? How is it a profession? But they have an exciting world of opportunities in front of them. I would only say 2 things to all the young people. Something that my father said to me, and I go by it. He said there are 3 kinds of people. One set of people who kind of think quite a lot, talk quite a lot, but just don't even start working on a project. They can't even start. They just get caught up with discussions and analysis. Second set of people are who start with a lot of gusto, a lot of enthusiasm, but somewhere halfway you see their projects tapering and they're losing interest in it. Third set of people are those when they start a project, they make sure they finish it and they make sure they do a damn good quality job. So my one advice would be that if you pick up something, first make sure that it is something that you believe in, you're passionate about. Once you start a project, take it to its completion, and a good completion, quality completion.
So any one thing that you would love to change if you get superpower?
Gaurav, I don't know what kind of superpower you're talking about. I have only one prayer always, that I just hope diseases go away. It's not only this COVID. I mean, I just want somehow cancer, and there's so many other diseases. I just wish that the speed at which we have got a COVID vaccine, we, get some kind of cure for all these diseases. So I don't know if I become a scientist and have the power again. One thing that I would want is this helplessness because of the disease is something that as people, we have to find a solution to.
But last, that one line that defines you.
This is something that Ripon Kapoor, who is the founder of Christ, said, and it defines me every single day. What I can do, I must do. It actually inspires everybody to find time or resources for underprivileged people.
Thank you very much for your time. It's a pleasure talking to you and sharing your experience with our audience.
Thank you, Gaurav. Thank you so much. It was such a pleasure speaking to you.